Good day, everybody. I hope that you're well, and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today, we'll be doing our grade 8 English lesson on adverbs. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once we've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of English language arts. We're doing grade 8. And then we're going to scroll down up until we get to our chapter of adverbs. All right. So our chapter is adverbs. Our subject is English language arts. We're doing grade 8. And then the lessons that we are going to be focusing on under the chapter of adverbs. All right. So when it comes to adverbs, right? Remember we said that our lesson is transition with conjunctive adverbs. And if we look at the word conjunctive, then it makes us think of, joining, right? Or putting words together. It like shows us how things relate to one another. That can be, some form of way in trying to make us understand before even know what the meaning of these words are, or the thing, or let's say the lesson is. All right. So when it comes to conjunctive adverbs, a conjunctive adverb, it is words that either connect two sentences or it even connects independent clauses, right? And then it shows the relationship between them. That is a conjunctive adverb. It connects to sentences, it's words that connect to sentences, or it connects independent clauses and it shows us the relationship between them. All right. And when it comes to conjunctive adverbs, right, we already said that it is words that either connect to sentences or it connects independent clauses and it shows us the relationship between them. And the conjunctive adverbs, right, this can basically help readers understand how ideas within a piece of writing relate to one another. All right. So when it comes to certain wording under the conjunctive adverbs, right? We said conjunctive adverbs, it can either show cause and effect. And if it shows cause and effect, right, then we use words like this is now remember these are words that either connects to sentences or it connects independent clauses and it shows the relationship between them, right? So when it comes to us either showing cause and effect, and we see that when it conjunctive adverbs, right? It we say that it can show cause and can show effect, and we can use words like consequently. Consequently is a word that we can use. This is now basically to connect either two sentences or independent clauses. We also use words like therefore, as a result of, and so on. That is now basically to show either cause or to show effect. Consequently, therefore, as a result of. So these are words that we can use to basically show the relationship between that sentences. If we want to compare and contrast ideas, right? If we want to compare ideas or contrast ideas, we can use words like likewise. However, on the contrary, these are words that we can use. And then if we want to add information, right? So a conjunctive adverb can also add information. And when we add information, then we use words like moreover. A commonly one is in addition. Furthermore. These are words that give us an idea that, with conjunctive adverbs that adds information. All right. And then lastly, if we want to introduce elaboration. So we say that our conjunctive adverbs can also introduce elaboration. And then we can use words like incidentally. For example, in fact. And these are words altogether, right, that shows how to, or not say that shows, that can be used in order for us to connect either to sentences or independent clauses within a sentence. All right. And remember, when it comes to conjunctive adverbs, this can basically help readers to understand how ideas within a piece of writing relate to one another by using the words like consequently or however, addition, furthermore, in addition, so on. These words can then be used in order for us to then connect the two sentences or clauses. And in order for us to use the conjunctive adverb, we need to consider how the idea in the text relate to one another and what relationships are suggested by different conjunctive adverbs. So we said that in order for you to use conjunctive adverbs, you need to consider how the idea in the text relate to one another and what relationship are suggested or is suggested by different conjunctive adverbs. Because remember, we said that we use these certain words to connect sentences or to connect clauses, right? And once we use these words to either connect or join clauses or sentences, then it will basically help the reader to understand how ideas within a piece of writing can relate to one another. And if we look at an example, so now we're going to use, or we're going to our an example. It says an avid traveler, Sarah, visits several foreign countries each year. Consequently, she has accumulated a large collection of souvenirs from around the world. Sorry. So an avid traveler, Sarah, visits several foreign countries each year. Consequently, she accumulated a large collection of souvenirs from around the world. Consequently, it shows either cause or effect of something. This is the cause or this is the effects of her traveling. So since she's been traveling, she's been collecting a whole lot of souvenirs. So which means that that word consequently over here. All right. And we use that word consequently to show cause and effect. And it basically shows us that serious traveling is the reason that she has collected so many souvenirs all around the world. That shows cause and effect. You have something because of something else. You gain something because of something else. She has all these souvenirs. Why? Because she's been traveling the world. All right. So now we're going to aplusstudents.ca. All right. And remember, we see that conjunctive adverbs, it is words that connects to sentences or independent clauses and shows the relationship between them. Right? So we're going to transition with conjunctive adverbs. All right. So we need to complete the text with a better conjunctive adverb. All right. We need to complete the text, right? Before we go to our test, we need to complete the text with a better conjunctive adverb. So we're just going to do a few activities and then we're going to our test. It says American composer Philip Glass is known for his quirky musical compositions. In the 1960s, he was influenced by Indian sitar player Ravi Shankar and began to question traditional treatments of melody, tempo, and harmony. Glass started composing minimalist compositions with repetitive rhymes. So here we need to add a word. We need to choose the correct. And if we were to choose the correct option, right, we will say that as a result, Glass started composing minimalist composition with repetitive rhymes. All right, so the word as a result of is then used to show that, you know, that Glass is basically, as much as, he is a composer, he is just doing minimal compositions and repetitive rhymes. So, as a result of the next one, we need to choose another one and then we're going to our test. We need to complete the text with a better conjunctive adverb. All right. So it says in 1859, John Wise left Lafayette, Indiana in a hot air balloon, carrying a bag of mail bound for New York City. After 5 grueling hours, Wise landed a mere 30 miles away in Crawfordsville, Indiana. We need to choose a conjunctive adverb. The mail, or let's say the letters, eventually arrived in New York by train. And if we were to choose the correct transition of words, then we could say that he landed a mere 30 miles away in Crawfordsville, Indiana. And then we say, nonetheless, the letters eventually arrived in New York by train. Remember, nonetheless is basically just to give us indication that even though, you took a hot air balloon and whatever, and, the mail then was delivered via train, that is why nonetheless is there just to show the conjunctive of, sorry, as long as it got to the place. That is what it means. Nonetheless, as long as it got to the place. All right. And we can then say that in 1859, John Wise left Indiana, and we see that our conjunctive word was nonetheless, meaning as long as it arrived wherever it needed to be. That is what it means. Remember the specific words that you use, right? It needs to be used, let's say, in a manner that it shows the transition. We need to show that, for example, it joins or it connects the sentences, right? It shouldn't even feel as if, we are just adding it or there is something missing. All right. Let us go to our test. We are going to choose transitions with conjunctive adverbs. We need to complete the text with a better conjunctive adverb. It says, on the Hubble Space Telescope, two new cameras, the advanced camera for surveys and the wide field camera 3, can now capture ultraviolet light. We now need to choose the correct word. Do we say as a result, the Hubble, or do we say however, the Hubble ultra deep field image of 2014 shows far more galaxies than were visible in 2009 image. So we need to choose the correct option. Do we choose as a result, the Hubble Ultra Deep Field image of 2014 shows far more galaxies? Or do we say, however, we need to choose the correct one? All right. So we basically need to complete the text with a better conjunction by either choosing as a result of to join the sentences, or we need to use however to join the sentences. And if we were to choose the correct word, basically to join the sentences, then we can say how as a result of, or as a result, the Hubble Ultra Deep Field image of 2014 shows far more galaxies than were visible in 2009 image. Let's see. And yes, as a result is correct. All right, and as a result is correct. Well done. The next one says some wild animals are primarily monogamous. Swans, for instance, they form bonds that last many years and sometimes for life. French angelfish live, hunt, and travel with their chosen mates and form bonds that often last their entire lives. So we now need to choose our correct word. Just there in front of the word French over here. So it says some wild animals are primarily monogamous. Swans, for instance, they form bonds that last many years and sometimes for life. Do we say, on the contrary, angelfish live, hunt, and travel with their chosen mates and form bonds that often last an entire lives? Or do we say, likewise, French angelfish live, hunt, and travel with their chosen mates and form bonds that last a lifetime? Which one is correct? Is it on the contrary or likewise? It's like you're joining from the first sentence that you made mention of. So, which one is correct? All right. So do we say it is on the contrary? Or do we say likewise? And if we were to choose the correct option, then we will say likewise French angelfish. Because remember now they're saying that it's almost like an addition to the previous sentence. All right. So likewise. Yes, well done. The next one says sauropods such as Brachiosaurus, Diplodocus or Docus, and Apatosaurus. They were herbivores, meaning they were plant eaters. So now, if we made mention of these, animals, saying that they were herbivores, do we say, on the other hand, they were plant eaters? Or do we say, in other words, they were plant eaters? Which one is correct? Do we have to say, on the other hand, they were plant eaters, or in other words, they were plant eaters? All right. And if we were to choose the correct word, do we choose on the other word in other words, or do we use on the other hand? And if we were to choose the correct one, we will say in other words, they were plant eaters. It is basically a continuation or an addition to our first sentence. So we need to say in other words. So we already made mention of all these dinosaurs and so on that are herbivores. So which means that now we're going to say in other words, meaning it's like saying meaning they are plant eaters. All right, well done. In other words, are correct. The next one says to improve your soccer skills, develop control by dribbling the ball close to your feet. Study hard, study how the best players handle the ball, and try their moves yourself. Finally, keep practicing. So, do we say option one, finally keep practicing, or do we say option two, hence keep practicing? All right. So we need to choose between either finally, we keep practicing, or hence we keep practicing, especially since they're coming up with ways in saying how you can improve your soccer skills. All right. And if we were to choose the correct option, then we can say, yeah, they're giving us like tips on how to, um, improve your soccer skills. So now they're ending off by saying, finally, you need to keep practicing. So finally, lastly, you need to keep practicing. All right. We can say one might assume that well known painter Vincent van Gogh was highly successful during his lifetime. Do we say moreover while he painted, or do we say on the contrary, while he painted more than 800 canvases, just one sold when he was alive, which is the Red Vineyard? So do we now say moreover, or do we say on the contrary? He painted more than 800 canvases, just one sold when he was alive. So do we say moreover, or do we say on the contrary? All right, and if we were to choose the correct option, we will say on the contrary. Where are we? Yes. All right, so this is now the end of our lesson on transitions with conjunctive adverbs, so basically adverbs. And we said that when it comes to transitions with conjunctive adverbs, or let's say conjunctive adverbs in general, then conjunctive adverbs, we said it is words that connects either two sentences or independent clauses, and it shows the relationship between them, right? And the conjunctive adverbs, it can help us as readers to understand how these type of ideas within a piece of writing can relate to one another, and they use the conjunctive words to join those sentences. It can either show cause and effect, it can either add information, it can either compare and contrast, or it can introduce an elaboration. All right, so this is now the end of our lesson on adverbs. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining, and I really hope you're going to have a good day further. So, till next time, goodbye.